Ethan had always been the quiet one, the observer, with an insatiable curiosity that bubbled just beneath the surface. His big brother Jack was his hero, bold, adventurous, and ever so confident. Jack would leap from tree branches, scale fences, and explore the hidden corners of their rural backyard like a fearless explorer navigating the wilds. Ethan admired Jack's spirit, often wishing he could be just like him. But tonight, under the cloak of darkness, the air was thick with uncertainty and fear. Jack had wandered off into the woods behind their home, and the warmth of their shared adventures felt like a distant memory. As the shadows deepened and the search parties combed through the trees with flashlights flickering like fireflies, Ethan's heart raced. He sensed something was wrong, a gnawing worry in his belly that he couldn't quite shake. His imagination painted vivid pictures of Jack's laughter echoing through the woods. But now it was replaced by an unsettling silence that made the night feel alive in a way that was both thrilling and terrifying. Before we dive deeper into Ethan's poignant journey, I want to invite you to join our growing community. Your support means everything to us. Please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your subscription helps us share more heartwarming stories, just like this one, with the world. So, let's embark on this adventure together. Subscribe now and stay connected. With the adults focused on their frantic search, Ethan felt a tug at his heart, a pull that urged him to take action. He couldn't just sit back while Jack was out there, possibly scared and alone. Gathering his courage, he tiptoed past the adults, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The flashlight in his tiny hand felt heavy, yet it also ignited a spark of determination. This was his moment to step into the role of the hero, to follow in the footsteps of his brother. Memories flooded his mind. Jack showing him the secret spots where they would play, the places that felt like their own little world. Ethan's small feet crunched over twigs and leaves as he ventured deeper into the woods. The beam of his flashlight danced across the trees, illuminating patches of underbrush and the darkened trunks that loomed like sentinels. Each step was a mix of fear and excitement, a thrilling chase to find his brother. The night air was crisp, filled with the distant sounds of rustling leaves and the occasional call of an owl, as if nature itself was holding its breath, joining Ethan in his quest. As he walked, he recalled the times Jack had taught him how to climb trees and build forts. Those moments filled him with strength, reminding him that bravery didn't always come from size or age, but from love and the bond they shared. Ethan's little heart swelled with a resolve that pushed away the creeping shadows of self-doubt. He was going to find Jack, no matter what it took. After what felt like hours, exhaustion began to seep into his bones, and the sense of adventure started to wane. The flashlight's beam flickered as he paused to catch his breath, a wave of fear sweeping over him. What if he couldn't find Jack? What if he was lost forever? The darkness around him felt heavier, and the silence rang in his ears like a warning bell. But deep down, Ethan knew that he couldn't turn back now. He had come too far. Just as despair threatened to take root, he caught sight of a familiar flash of red against the muted colors of the night. It was Jack's jacket, draped over a mossy rock by a bubbling creek. Hope surged through Ethan like a jolt of electricity, propelling him forward. He sprinted toward the creek, his tiny legs moving faster than they ever had before. As he drew closer, he could see the outline of his brother, huddled and still. "Jack!" Ethan called out, his voice trembling but filled with determination. The scene before him was both a relief and a heart-wrenching sight. Jack was cold, shivering, and unable to move, his face pale under the moonlight. Ethan's heart squeezed painfully in his chest as he rushed to his brother's side, wrapping his arms around him in a tight embrace. "Ethan," Jack whispered, his voice barely audible, yet it carried a weight of emotion that transcended the fear of the dark. In that moment, the world around them faded away, and all that mattered was the bond they shared. Ethan could feel Jack's body trembling against him, and instinctively, he tightened his grip, trying to transfer warmth and comfort to his brother. "Stay with me, Jack. I'm here," he murmured, his voice steady despite the fear bubbling inside. The cold night air wrapped around them like a shroud, but Ethan's small body radiated warmth as he held Jack close. He remembered the stories Jack had told him about bravery and resilience, how heroes came in all shapes and sizes. In this moment, he was his brother's hero, and he would not let go. As dawn began to break, the first rays of sunlight peeked through the trees, casting a golden hue over the forest. The soft light enveloped them, igniting a glimmer of hope that pierced through the darkness of the night. Ethan held Jack tighter, whispering reassuring words, his heart pounding in rhythm with the promise of a new day. In the distance, the sound of footsteps grew louder, and the calls of searchers echoed through the woods. The deep worry that had settled over Ethan began to lift, replaced by an overwhelming sense of relief. Help was on the way. As the search teams neared, Ethan focused on Jack, knowing they would be found soon, but it was the bond between them that truly mattered. In that dark forest, they had fought against fear and uncertainty, emerging stronger and more connected than ever before. The sun crested the horizon, illuminating the world around them in a brilliant display of colors. It was a new beginning, not just for Ethan and Jack, but for the love that had guided them through the night. The connection between the brothers had been tested, yet it stood unbreakable, a testament to the resilience of love in the face of adversity. Ethan held on to that promise tightly, knowing that their adventure was far from over. Ethan clung to Jack, feeling the steady rise and fall of his brother's chest against his own. Each breath was a reminder that they were together, that they had survived the darkness that had threatened to swallow them whole. As the warmth of the sun began to kiss the cool morning air, Ethan felt a flutter of hope surge within him, igniting a sense of urgency to help Jack. He could hear the distant shouts of the search teams, their voices carrying on the breeze like lifelines, anchoring him to the reality that help was near. "Jack, can you move? We need to get out of here," Ethan said, his voice a mix of determination and concern. He looked into Jack's eyes, searching for reassurance, for any sign that his brother was still the fearless adventurer he had always admired. But Jack's gaze was clouded, the pain evident as he struggled to sit up. Ethan's heart sank for a moment, but then he remembered the stories Jack had told him about heroes overcoming challenges. He could be a hero too, even at 6 years old. "I can help you," he said, a new resolve filling his voice. "Just lean on me." With great effort, Jack shifted slightly, allowing Ethan to slide under his arm. Together, they began to inch their way away from the creek, slow but steady. The journey felt monumental, each small movement a testament to their bond. The forest, once a place of fear, transformed into a sanctuary of hope as the sun climbed higher, illuminating their path. As they moved, Ethan's thoughts raced. He recalled the times they had ventured into the woods during the day, their laughter echoing through the trees as they played hide and seek, their imaginations running wild. Now, in the early light, he could see the familiar landmarks, the old oak tree where they had built their fort, the gnarled roots that formed a natural bridge over the creek. Each sight brought a sense of familiarity and comfort, guiding them back towards safety. "Keep talking, Jack," Ethan said, trying to distract his brother from the pain. "Remember that time we found the hidden cave? You said it was like a treasure trove." Jack managed a weak smile, his eyes lighting up at the memory. "Yeah, and you were convinced we'd find a dragon inside." Ethan laughed, a sound that seemed to chase away the lingering shadows. "You said if we ever found a dragon, we'd ride it into the sunset." Jack chuckled softly, the sound strained but genuine. "We still can, you know. Just need to find a way out of this forest first." Their playful banter felt like a lifeline, pulling them both further from the fear that had gripped them. The forest, which had felt so vast and intimidating just hours before, now seemed to shrink around them, becoming a pathway lined with hope and memories. Ethan felt a renewed strength coursing through him, a determination to get them both home. Just then, the sounds of the search party grew louder, voices mingling with the rustling leaves. "Ethan! Jack!" The calls rang out, a chorus of concern that filled the air with encouragement. "Over here!" Ethan shouted, his voice rising above the sounds of nature. He waved his flashlight, its beam flickering but still illuminating the way. "We're over here." Soon, Figures began to emerge from the trees, their faces a mix of worry and relief. The searchers, a blend of neighbors and local volunteers, rushed toward the brothers, their flashlights now tools of hope rather than fear. One of the adults, a kind woman with a familiar face, knelt down beside them, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Ethan, Jack, thank goodness you're safe," she exclaimed, wrapping her arms around them both. Ethan felt the warmth of her embrace, a comfort that washed over him like a soothing balm. "We're okay," he reassured her, though the exhaustion weighed heavily on his small shoulders. "Jack just needs help." The woman turned her attention to Jack, concern etched on her face. "Let's get you out of here, honey. You're going to be all right." With gentle hands, the searchers carefully lifted Jack, making sure he was supported and secure. Ethan, still by his brother's side, felt a surge of pride and protectiveness. They were together, and that was all that mattered. As they made their way back through the woods, the sun continued to rise, illuminating the path ahead and chasing away the remnants of night. The once feared forest transformed into a haven of safety and warmth, each step bringing them closer to home. "Jack, you're going to tell me all about your adventure when we get home, right?" Ethan asked, his voice bright with anticipation. "Of course," Jack replied, his strength returning as adrenaline coursed through his veins. "But you have to promise me something." "What?" Ethan asked, curiosity piqued. "Promise me you'll always come looking for me, no matter what," Jack said, his expression serious but softened by a hint of a smile. Ethan nodded, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "I promise. Always." As they emerged from the trees, the familiar sight of their home came into view. The warm glow of the morning light washed over everything, making the moment feel surreal. The search party erupted into cheers, relief flooding the air as the brothers reunited with their family. Their parents rushed toward them, enveloping both boys in a tight embrace. Tears of joy streamed down their mother's face as she held them close, whispering words of love and gratitude. "You were so brave," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "We were so worried." Ethan basked in the warmth of his family's love, the fear of the night fading into a distant memory. In that moment, he realized that the bond he shared with Jack was more than just brotherly love. It was an unbreakable connection forged through courage, resilience, and an unyielding commitment to one another. As they stood together, a family reunited, Ethan felt a sense of peace wash over him. He knew that whatever adventures lay ahead, they would face them together. The woods might have been a place of fear, but they had emerged stronger, ready to create new memories and tackle whatever challenges awaited them. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. Your thoughts matter, and we want to hear how this tale of courage resonates with you. The sun continued to rise, casting a warm glow over the landscape, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope and love could light the way forward. As the family gathered on their porch, Ethan held Jack's hand tightly, knowing deep down that the bond they shared was the most powerful treasure of all. Together, they were unstoppable, ready to embrace whatever life had in store for them. Ethan gazed at the vibrant sky, the colors swirling together in a breathtaking display, and felt a comforting warmth enveloping him. The weight of the night's ordeal began to lift, replaced by the joyous laughter of their family and friends who had gathered around them. Each smiling face reflected the relief and love that filled the air, reinforcing the idea that they were never truly alone, even in the darkest moments. "Let's celebrate," their father declared, clapping his hands together as if rallying the troops. "How about a big breakfast? Pancakes, bacon, and everything else you love." Ethan's stomach rumbled at the thought, and he chuckled, feeling a sudden rush of energy. "Can we have chocolate chips in the pancakes?" he asked, his eyes shining with excitement. "Of course! We can have a chocolate chip mountain if that's what it takes to celebrate your bravery," their father replied, ruffling Ethan's hair affectionately. Jack smiled, his earlier weariness replaced by the familiar spark of mischief. "And whipped cream? Don't forget the whipped cream." "Whipped cream it is," their mother chimed in, wiping the tears from her eyes as she began ushering everyone inside. "You two are going to need your strength for all the stories we're going to share today." As they stepped into the warmth of their home, the aroma of breakfast began to fill the air, mingling with the laughter and chatter of their family. Ethan's heart swelled with gratitude, knowing that every moment spent together, no matter how mundane, was a treasure. Sitting at the breakfast table, Ethan and Jack exchanged knowing glances, a silent agreement that the bond formed in the woods would guide them in the adventures to come. Their family surrounded them, sharing stories of the frantic search and the relief felt when they were finally found. It was a beautiful chaos, a symphony of joy that played in harmony with their hearts. Once breakfast was over, Ethan's curiosity got the better of him. "Can we go back to the woods later?" he asked, his voice filled with eagerness. "I want to show everyone where we found you." Jack chuckled, shaking his head. "Only if we go during the day. I think I've had enough of the dark for a while." Their parents exchanged glances before their mother smiled. "That sounds like a wonderful idea. We can make it a family adventure, and maybe even have a picnic." The thought of exploring the woods in the light of day filled Ethan with excitement. Together, they could transform the place that had felt so daunting into a realm of wonder and discovery. As the day wore on, Ethan found himself caught up in the warmth of family stories, laughter filling the air as they recounted tales of bravery and love. Each moment stitched together a patchwork of memories that would last a lifetime. Yet, amidst the joy, Ethan felt a gentle nudge in his heart, a whisper reminding him of the importance of their bond. Later that day, as the sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Ethan and Jack ventured back outside. The world felt different in the sunlight, the shadows from the night before all but vanished. Together, they walked toward the edge of the woods, hand in hand, a united front ready to face whatever lay ahead. "Do you think it will always be like this?" Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper as they paused at the tree line. Jack turned to him, his expression thoughtful. "I hope so. It's our adventure now, Ethan. We'll always have each other's backs, no matter what." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of reassurance wash over him. "We're a team, right? Right? Always." With that affirmation, they stepped into the woods together, the sunlight filtering through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground. Each step was a reminder of their journey, a testament to their resilience, and a celebration of their unbreakable bond. As they approached the creek where they had spent that harrowing night, Ethan glanced at Jack. "You know, when we get older, we can come back here and tell our kids about this day." Jack laughed, a genuine sound that echoed through the trees. "Yeah, and we'll tell them how brave their dads were, or how ridiculous they were for wandering off in the first place," Ethan added, giggling. Their laughter intertwined with the sounds of nature, resonating like music through the trees. In that moment, they understood that every adventure, whether daunting or delightful, was part of their story, a story woven with threads of courage, love, and the promise of many more adventures to come. As they turned to head back home, the sun dipped below the horizon, but the light within them remained bright. They were ready to embrace the future together, knowing that no darkness could ever extinguish the light of their brotherly bond.